There's a new video this morning that some say may be proof we're not alone in the universe. A UFO in the form of a bright light is seen descending over the Dome of the Rock in Jerusalem. The video is said to be taken over the weekend. Then suddenly the light shoots up into the sky. There you see it. Another video from a different angle appears to show the light doing the same thing. Those clips have gone viral now.
Exchange of amenities, and President Roosevelt asking Tesla, well, what have you been up to? What have you been doing? And of course, the President already knew about the ongoing work on Project Invisibility, but there were other things Tesla had been into which were exchanged. And among other things, Tesla mentioned the fact that he had been in communication with extraterrestrials.
We got some video that's going to have a lot of people talking.
If everything going on right now wasn't odd enough for you, take a look at this. The Pentagon releasing these videos of what they are calling unidentified aerial phenomena. They were filmed by some Navy pilots for the last 2 decades.
So he told FDR he had been in communication with several groups. Roosevelt was curious, can I talk with them? And Tesla said, definitely, I can arrange it if you wish, and he did. After which Roosevelt decided he would like to meet some of these people. And I asked Tesla, is this possible? And he says, I believe it is.
This'll wake you up. The U.S. military has, for the first time ever, officially released several videos of unidentified flying objects.
Wow.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you will, look right here.
Just when you thought 2020 couldn't get any more bizarre.
My gosh!
The Pentagon declassifying 3 videos of what they're calling unexplained aerial phenomena.
Look at that thing! It's rotating.
2 videos showing objects spotted by Navy fighter pilots during training flights in 2015. And this one from 2004 showing an object about 40 feet long hovering about 50 feet above the water. Weird, right? Well, get this. The videos were previously leaked by a private company founded by Blink-182 rocker Tom DeLonge. The singer tweeting on Monday, the Pentagon just officially released my videos. Just saying. So why are they being released now?
In the language of the US Department of Defense, these are unidentified aerial phenomena. Videos which add fuel to the belief of some that we are not alone.
He said there's 2 groups principally you might be interested in talking with. He says if you have in mind making any kind of a deal, because at that time, as everyone knows, we were in the midst of a terrible depression, and Roosevelt was looking for some means to get out of it, to end it. In those days, he was perhaps a little bit more altruistic than might have been the case later. So arrangements were made to meet 2 groups. First, the Pleiadians, and then later, a K group, as I call them, the Kondrashkin. He met first with the Pleiadians. They gave a pitch as to what they might be able to do to help. He says, fine, but I want to talk with the other group first before I make a decision. So he talked with the second group and decided in favor of the second group. And the Pleiadians at that point bowed out. And as a matter of fact, went over to Nazi Germany and made a deal with Hitler, which we'll not get into because that's another long story, but it does figure in the background precedent to World War II and the development of German technology. So Roosevelt accepted their offer of help, in which they said they would provide some new industries and other things. 1938, an offer was made to set up the entire new industry called atomic energy, which of course we have today. President Roosevelt was very interested and very receptive to the idea. And he consulted with his various advisors in the military, and the military says, whoa. If you let aliens set up an industry like this, even though it's on our home turf, and they are in essence controlling it and know where it can go, what happens? We do not have true control over it. What's going to happen in the future? Will we become vassals or slaves to them? The military advised against it, and Roosevelt turned his mind against it and so advised them, and they became upset and says, well, there's nothing else we can do for you, and disappeared into the woodwork.
Ladies and gentlemen, the very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society, and we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret societies, to secret oaths, and to secret proceedings. We decided long ago that the dangers of excessive and unwarranted concealment of pertinent facts far outweighed the dangers which are cited to justify it. Even today, there is little value in opposing the threat of a closed society by imitating its arbitrary restrictions. Even today, there is little value in ensuring the survival of our nation if our traditions do not survive with it. And there is very grave danger that an announced need for increased security will be seized upon by those anxious to expand its meaning to the very limits of official censorship and concealment. That I do not intend to permit to the extent that it's in my control.
But the thing is, it's so widespread, this the corruption stuff. It's even bigger than what you truthers think that it is. It's they have police and doctors and everything there loyal so that they can have clone sex with like a Britney Spears or an Angelica Jolie or something, and while they're sleeping, because they're like, what are we doing when we're sleeping? It's a big waste of time. We can go there and have lots of fun. So, but it's a terrible, diabolical, nefarious place. I've seen all kinds of stuff.
And no official of my administration, whether his rank is high or low, civilian or military, should interpret my words here tonight as an excuse to censor the news, to stifle dissent, to cover up our mistakes, or to withhold from the press and the public the facts they deserve to know. For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence, on infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections, on intimidation instead of free choice, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day.
Military, and the military says, whoa. If you let aliens set up an industry like this, even though it's on our home turf, and they are in essence controlling it and know where it can go, what happens? We do not have true control over it. What's going to happen in the future? Will we become vassals or slaves to them? The military advised against it, and Roosevelt turned his mind against it and so advised them, and they became upset and says, well, there's nothing else we can do for you, and disappeared into the woodwork.
It is a system which has conscripted vast human and material resources into the building of a tightly knit, highly efficient machine that combines military, diplomatic, intelligence, economic, scientific, and political operations.
They're trying to raise the consciousness. They came back in time to 1964 to contact me. I'm not the only one. There are others. There are also other people who are mediums or channels or whatever word you want to add to it, who are also getting information on a spiritual level. Octurians are also involved. And the whole point is they want our part of the galaxy to evolve. And what's holding it back is our solar system. And what's holding
Its preparations are concealed, not published. Its mistakes are buried, not headlined. Its dissenters are silenced, not praised. No expenditure is questioned, no rumor is printed, no secret is revealed. No president should fear public scrutiny of his program, for from that scrutiny comes understanding, and from that understanding comes support or opposition, and both are necessary. Instead of free
Start
choice.
really paying attention to what's going on. I wouldn't believe a thing that comes out of Washington, D.C. In fact, it's my own personal belief that this next election that's coming up next year in November, that every American should march on Washington, D.C. and should fire every single person that's there. They have run this country into the ground. They have totally sold us out to the United Nations. Let's deal with the realities here. You know, we don't have a guy that's strong enough in office as president to stand up and say, you know what, ladies and gentlemen, we've really been sold out. But there are forces within our government, like what Kennedy tried to do, that just flat out want to destroy the United States because we're too good, because we have too much. Instead, also, playing on the greed factor, those who are still human, they look at the fact that, well, they're here, they're the rulers, you know, we can still maintain our place of privilege in the world, so we'll form the new priesthood. We'll be the go-between between the workers and the gods, just like we saw in Babylon, in Assyria.
I don't know if I'm going to get in trouble for saying this, but Obama is down with the VRO, okay?
So the Andromedans tell you that the Alpha Draconians are here now. Where?
There are 1,833 of them that have been living underground between 100 and 200 miles beneath the surface. They've been here, some of them have been here a long, long time. They have lifespans that are thousands of years. They're carnivorous. They are not friendly to mankind, at least the ones that are here.
Are you saying carnivorous, they eat humans?
Yes.
This from underground and do it, or do they have?
There are tunneling systems everywhere. They're being helped by the Greys, and also there are groups within the higher echelon that are actually helping them acquire this.
So human beings are abducting the kids and giving them to the Greys to in turn give them to the Alpha Draconians?
That's right. That's part of the deal. They won't come up as long as we feed them down there. You understand? It's about human beings selling themselves out. The echelon attitude here, the needs of the few outweigh the needs of humanity. And sorry, that just isn't right. You know, but it's going to have to be humanity that's going to rise up and take the stand. You're just going to have to turn off your televisions. They're going to have to get in their car. They're going to have to fire everybody in Washington, D.C. that knows and does nothing. And they're going to have to do something. You know, this apathy's got to end. Otherwise, the way we live is going to end. Period. I mean, you know, and it's another thing, and there's also one more factor. It is about human beings out for power, selling out their own race.
The World Club.
Just selling out the rest of us, the human race, for their moment in glory, for their privilege to be with the gods, so to speak.
The Illuminati are basically using me, okay, to expose these lizards in an eloquent way, because none of them want to be the first person out so that they'll die. Like Bernie Mac he tried to start a mutiny there, saying, we can't have this, we all got to shut this place down. This place is the devil, he said, and they tortured the shit out of it. Let me tell you, all the celebrities, because they bring them there, and they tell them, look, you're here, you're going to hang with us. If you don't want to, well, if they cry and make a fuss like Lauryn Hill from the Fugees, make a song about I Get Out and stuff, they let her not go to the cloning station. They don't activate her, let her have normal dreams. But other people, they really grill them to stay. And they say, if you ever talk about it, you're going to die.
It's so rampant. It is so bad. But watch for the symbolism, because these people out themselves with the symbols.
But is there such a thing as a deep state? You bet there is. And though it's been around a long time, it's never been as obvious, as identifiable, or as desperate as it is now.
What is the dangerous and murky deep state that President Trump keeps talking about?
Yet the deep state and the failed ruling class are trying to resist any changes to their failed policies.
They made very serious errors.
But you make no finding that this was attributable to a deep state conspiracy or a political conspiracy or any such type of motivation.
We make no finding. We explain in there that.
But it all is much the same thing. It's all about FBI official political corruption. And this is even more emphatically damning because it's very clear that the FBI under President Obama knew that a Russian intelligence operation was being run, a disinformation campaign, and with the help of an former MI6 operative who was at the center of the FBI investigation and effort to overthrow the president, the man who would become the president of the United States. This is outrageous, and it gets more outrageous by the day because no one's been held accountable.
There's a bigger system of control that is at play, and I want people to open their eyes to it because people don't want to believe, they can't believe that something so evil is happening. Because most people are good. Most people are good.
The past. They believe it is their right to rule over you and to redistribute your wealth all around the world. No, thank you.
Well, I don't think it's anything new. And I think maybe a new term and a new coined phrase when you say deep state, but I think every president and every administration at different levels have complained about it.
I didn't hear Barack Obama coming out and say, hey, the deep state.
Well, I'll get to that if you want me to jump to that very quickly.
No, I just want you made it.
I have to tell you, Queen Elizabeth is there. Stephen Harper, Canadian Prime Minister. Obama is there.
Obama, 100%. 100%. Google Obama Wendy, and a picture should come up.
This is where they discuss all political, worldly affairs. And they let me sit in, fly on the wall, because they figure nobody's going to ever believe me, that they can clone anybody in.
Well, the actual term is very, very dangerous, and it is a great disservice to use this term in regard to the United States government. And the reason is that the deep state, the origin of the term is Turkish, and it is meant to imply a secret government, civil servants, that go against the law, not in favor of the law.
Well, I wanted them to do the awakening on me so I could go to the cops and get the cops on them. Well, the thing is, they are the cops too. Like, this is the linchpin in how the Illuminati NWO works, because like most of the leaders from the G20 countries go there, about 14 of the G20 countries, and then there's leaders from countries that don't even fit in the G20 that go there too, right? And
the reason it wasn't obvious, or that you never really heard much about a shadow government that really ran things, was because no one had ever threatened their power.
To drain the swamp of corruption in Washington, D.C., I've started by imposing a 5-year lobbying ban on White House officials and a lifetime ban on lobbying for a foreign government.
I'm not asking your newspapers to support an administration, but I am asking your help in the tremendous task of informing and alerting
the media
American
is
people.
just going apoplectic about, they're just going absolutely bonkers. And people are starting to be like, why are they freaking out so much? Like, Donald Trump had 2 scoops of ice cream. How is that? Like, why are people's heads exploding? It's because they're compromised.
I think something that I learned a long time ago in the White House was this. When you get a letter like this, that means we're doing the right thing. And the right thing means this. We're setting the right policies. And what you're doing is, to quote the president, is you have the swamp fighting back.
But did your boss get that letter? Bush 1 and Bush 2 didn't get that letter.
But no other president
they were part of the
Adolfo
just said something important. I want Elaine to respond.
John and Adolfo. No other president has gotten this letter.
No other president has come in to make the kind of reforms that President Trump wants.
But your point is that this is working for President Trump.
This is
Adolfo, this is working for President Trump.
It is. It is working and it is President Trump's agenda. President Trump ran in 2016 to say he was going to what? To the swamp. Drain it. And this is part of the draining process.
To drain the swamp of corruption in Washington, D.C., I've started by imposing a 5-year lobbying ban on White House officials and a lifetime ban on lobbying for a foreign government.
For I have complete confidence in the response and dedication of our citizens whenever they are fully informed.
Apparatus that our federal government has. So we're faced with two possibilities. Either one, these FBI agents purposely use the power of the federal government to wage a political war against a presidential candidate they despised.
Mark Thompson he runs the New York Times. Now, Mark Thompson was head of the BBC for years and years and years. They covered up allegations, they covered up abuse, they let him run rampant, and they just covered it up. So this guy, Mark Thompson, is at BBC, and then he goes over to the New York Times. Now think about it. If someone like that is running a giant media organization, what are they going to say? What are they going to tell you? Are they going to tell you the truth? No. No, they're not going to tell the truth. That's why when people say the news is fake, it's because it's run by these people who are into some very, 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 very sick stuff.
I not only could not stifle controversy among your readers, I welcome it. This administration intends to be candid about its errors. For as a wise man once said, an error doesn't become a mistake until you refuse to correct it.
Well, when you report fake news, when you report fake news, which CNN does a lot, you are the enemy of the people. Go ahead.
Mr. President,
I have a good relationship with Kim Jong-un, and I hope he's okay. And somebody would say, oh, that's terrible. No, it's not terrible. I hope he's okay. And I think it was a fake report done by CNN.
So can I ask you a question?
What do you have? Go ahead. No, that's enough. Go ahead.
Can I ask? But that wasn't my question.
The problem is you don't write the truth. So, as far as I'm concerned, I want to go to the next
Can I ask you a question about...
No, not CNN, please. Go ahead.
The White House has not responded to these allegations.
I told you. CNN is fake news. Don't talk to me. Go ahead, please.
But he says he was retaliated against, and that's why he was removed from his job. Do you have a response to that?
Okay, next question.
Mr. President, I have two questions, one on behalf of a colleague who's not here because of social distancing.
Just ask one, please.
First one, could you talk about your decision-making process with the governor of Georgia? You yesterday
the controversy?
Well, you said yesterday that you told the governor of Georgia you were concerned.
I had a good talk with the governor of Georgia.
Earlier in the week, you spoke and you did not convey this kind of message. Was there a change in your thinking?
I did convey the message. I didn't like the fact that he's leaving certain things. I want the states to open more than he does, much more than he does. But I didn't like to see spas at this early stage, nor did the doctors. Is that a correct statement?
This did serve in the previous administration.
Oh, you didn't tell me that. Oh, I see. You didn't tell me that, John. You didn't tell me that. Did serve in the previous administration. You mean the Obama administration. Thank you for telling me that. See, there's a typical fake news deal.
You asked me when she was appointed. I told you when she was appointed.
You're a third-rate reporter, and what you just said is a disgrace, okay? You asked me, you said, sir, just got appointed. Take a look at what you said now. I said, when did this person, how long in government? Well, it was appointed in the Obama administration. Thank you very much, John. Thank you very much. You will never make it. Go ahead, please.
On the ventilators,
well, that's
maybe
terrible.
for Admiral Jawar, but can you tell?
Concocting a national emergency here in order to get your wall because you couldn't get it through other ways.
What do you think? Do you think I'm creating something? Ask these incredible women who lost their daughters and their sons. This is real. Okay? Because your question is a very political question because you have an agenda. You're CNN. You're fake news. You have an agenda. The numbers that you gave are wrong. Take a look at our federal prison population. See how many of them, percentage-wise, are illegally.
Since you're attacking us, can you give us a question? Mr. President-elect.
Go ahead.
Mr. President-elect, since you are attacking our news organization, can you give us a chance?
Your organization
You are attacking our news organization. Can you give us a chance to ask a question, sir?
Go ahead.
Sir, can you state, Mr. President-elect,
go ahead.
can you state categorically,
she's asking a question.
Mr. President-elect, can you give us a question?
Don't be rude.
You're attacking us. Can you give us a question?
Don't be rude.
Can you give us a question?
I'm not going to give you a question.
Can you state categorically?
You are fake news.
Sir,
go ahead.
Can you state categorically that no Nobody. No, Mr. President-elect, that's not appropriate.
A lot. And in fact, we'll give you a list. What we did, in fact, part of it was up there. We did a lot. Look. You know you're a fake. You know that. Your whole network, the way you cover it, is fake. You know you're a fake. You know that. Your whole network, the way you cover it, is fake.
Migrants climbing over walls and so on.
Well, that's true.
But
they weren't actors.
They're not going to be doing that.
They weren't actors. Well, no, it's true. Do you think they were actors? They weren't actors. They didn't come from Hollywood. Right. These were people. This was an actual. It happened a few days ago. And
they're hundreds of miles away, though. They're hundreds and hundreds of miles away. That's not an invasion.
Honestly, I think you should let me run the country. You run CNN.
All right.
And if you did it well, your ratings would be much better.
If I may ask one other question, Mr. President, if I may ask one other question, are you worried?
That's enough. That's enough.
Mr. President, I was going to ask one of the other folks.
That's enough.
Pardon me, ma'am. Mr. President,
that's enough.
Mr. President, I had one other question, if I may ask, on the Russia investigation. Are you concerned that you may have?
I'm not concerned about anything with the Russian
investigation
because it's a hoax. That's enough. Put down the mic.
Mr. President, are you worried about indictments coming down in this investigation?
Mr. President.
I'll tell you what, CNN should be ashamed of itself having you working for them. You are a rude, terrible person. You shouldn't be working for CNN. Go ahead.
I think that's unfair.
You're a very rude person. The way you treat Sarah Huckabee is horrible. And the way you treat other people are horrible. You shouldn't treat people that way. Go ahead. Go ahead, Peter. Go ahead.
In Jim's defense, I've traveled with him and watched him. He's a diligent reporter who busts his butt.
Well, I'm not
like
a big
the rest
fan
of
of yours either. So
I understand.
To be honest.
So let me ask you a question, if I can. You repeatedly said
you aren't the best,
Mr. President. You repeatedly over the course of
just sit down, please.
I think they would be safe by going outside in the heat, considering that so many people are dying in Florida, considering that this virus has had an outbreak in Singapore, places that are hot and are humid.
Here we go. The new headline is Trump asks people to go outside. That's dangerous. Here we go. Same old group. You ready?
Respectfully, sir, you're the president, and people tuning into these briefings, they want to get information and guidance and want to know what to do. They're not looking for rumors.
Hey, Phil. I'm the president, and you're fake news. And you know what I'll say to you? I'll say very nicely, I know you well. I know you well, because I know the guy. I see what he writes. He's a total faker. So are you ready? Are you ready? And I don't know if that's so, but I do think it's so that there are people in your profession that would like that to happen. I think it's very clear. I think it's very clear that there are people in your profession that write fake news. You do. She does. There are people in your profession that write fake news. They would love to see me for whatever reason, because we've done one hell of a job. Nobody's done the job that we've done. And it's lucky that you have this group here right now for this problem, or you wouldn't even have a country left. Okay. But if you take a look at the states, and many states that are you ready? It's just a suggestion from a brilliant lab by a very, very smart, perhaps brilliant man. He's talking about sun, he's talking about heat, and you see the numbers. So that's it. That's all I have. I'm just here to present talent. I'm here to present ideas, because we want ideas to get rid of this thing. And if heat is good, and if sunlight is good, that's a great thing as far as I'm concerned.
And because President Trump has openly defied conventional norms for conducting military and foreign policy, the entire deep state has come undone. No one has ever threatened their ironclad control, and they're going berserk to preserve and to protect their kingdom at the expense of yours. So just remember this one important truth. The deep state hates Donald Trump. They will stop at nothing to impeach him, defeat him, and destroy him. But what they really fear is that you will find out about them and demand that the deep state gets dismantled, and that we have a government that really does exist for and which serves we, the people.
We intend to accept full responsibility for our errors, and we expect you to point them out when we miss them. Without debate, without criticism, no administration and no country can succeed.
This was an attempt
and no republic
to overthrow
can
the
survive.
President. This was an attempt to align the entire FBI with Russian intelligence objectives and missions. And this should result not in a discussion about the unseemliness of a sordidly, politically corrupt officialdom of the FBI under President Obama. It should be about a sinister cabal operating in the intelligence agencies, the FBI, and the Justice Department to overthrow a president.
Of different things. The head of the Mexican drug cartel is there. Mafia in Italy is there. Man, everybody is there. It's like the rich guy's crazy club that'll never get caught. And you have to be real privileged to go there. Well, I don't want to go there. And I'm not privileged there. I'm pretty low on the totem pole there, actually, probably the lowest. So
when you're talking about like really elite levels, the name of the game is blackmail. So they want something on you that they can hold over your head so they can basically own you and tell you what to do. And they film it. And then they own you. So that's what runs the whole system, basically.
Anthony Weiner had a secret file on his laptop that he named it Life Insurance. Within the life insurance folder, Anthony had over 650,000 emails of his wife Huma Abedin and emails she shared with Hillary Clinton. The FBI opened an investigation right away after they noticed all of the emails and some of the content that was stored within the folder. This is going to shock everybody. Anthony Weiner got a hold of Huma's emails between her and Hillary and the rest of the gang. And he stored them in this folder and named it Life Insurance. Anthony Weiner is very aware that Hillary Clinton has a detail to snuff people out. It's a well-known secret that the Clinton body bag has claimed many lives, including, recently, Seth Rich, who Julian Assange named as the staffer who supplied the emails from the DNC.
Like, everyone is threatened. Everyone. Why don't you show us proof? There's a bunch of stuff I posted on 8chan. And by the way, the proof is in the fucking pudding. If I'm lying, sue me. The situation that really woke me up. I mean, I knew when Pizzagate hit, I was researching on 4chan, and so I was kind of like, oh wow, this is a problem. But when it really hit me was that, well, the first time it really hit me was at Seth's. We went over there, played Mafia. It's a role-playing game that we play. And at the end of the night, it was me, Seth, and his brother-in-law. And Seth turned to me and opened up this secret bookshelf, and he's like, "This is where we keep the children." And I was like, I tried to just put it out of my mind.
Because he was sexting with minors. There was a file on this laptop called Life Insurance. In this file, they found evidence of Hillary Clinton and her subordinates sexually abusing and torturing children.
I have seen Hillary Clinton before I knew she was Hillary Clinton. At the time, at these rituals, she is involved.
The way everything works, because at the top levels of wealth, of power, the very top levels, these people are just sick and psycho. Look into the Rothschild family. Do some research. You heard it's cannibals. Yeah, there is cannibalism. That's the higher you go, the more sick it gets.
It's the government and celebrities doing this to people, because I'll tell you how the celebrities got into it. Back in the past, it was a political thing. They bring all the leaders of the countries in together, and they can all chat about stuff and enjoy this, sacrilegious, forbidden place, this cloning thing, and do whatever they can't do in real life. Well, they got real bored with each other because most of them are fat and ugly and bald and stuff. So they started bringing celebrities there. This is why JFK died, by the way, and Marilyn Monroe. JFK was going to talk about it, the cloning station. He didn't want to go. She didn't want to go. They had her there too. They said, we'll torture you at the cloning station if you talk about it. Anyway.
That is why the Athenian lawmaker Solon decreed it a crime for any citizen to shrink from controversy.
Everyone's afraid. they're afraid to come out. People that know they don't want to do it. It's scary, guys. People get killed over this shit. It happens all the time. It happens all the time.
This is the biggest expose on the Illuminati guys ever, what they do secret, right? Because the thing being, how I know is because I acted very loyal to them when in my 20s, right? Well, the thing was, if you don't act compliant there, they will beat the hell out of your clone, and it hurts just like real life, right? Like this, and they can turn it up to the pain threshold on a remote control. They have everything down, and people are scared to talk about this because of the lizard aspect and the fact they can just keep cloning you and torturing you and torturing you and torturing you. New body, new body, new body, because they make multiples of people.
You can redeem yourself and come clean, but it's already done. It's already done. The indictments are in. So if you want to help out, just admit it. What bad is going to happen? It's already over. Like, so why don't you just come out? I know you're scared, but it's over. It's done.
Very importantly, I'm hereby directing the Department of Defense and Pentagon to immediately begin the process necessary to establish a Space Force as the 6th branch of the armed forces. That's a big statement. We are going to have the Air Force and we are going to have the Space Force, separate but equal. It is going to be something so important. General Dunford, if you would carry that assignment out, I would be very greatly honored also. Where's General Dunford? General? Got it? Let's go get it, General. But that's the importance that we give it. We're going to have the Space Force. 1 year ago, I revived the National Space Council and put exactly the right man in charge, and that's our friend, Mike Pence. Feels very strongly about this. And in December, I signed a historic directive that will return Americans to the moon for the first time since 1972, if you can believe that. Always remembering it's about that, but it's also about jobs and the economy. This is a great thing we're doing. This time we will do more than plant our flag and leave our footprints. We will establish a long-term presence, expand our economy, and build the foundation for an eventual mission to Mars, which is actually going to happen very quickly.
And that is why our press was protected by the First Amendment, the only business in America specifically protected by the Constitution, not primarily to amuse and entertain, not to emphasize the trivial and the sentimental, not to simply give the public what it wants, but to inform, to arouse, to reflect, to state our dangers and our opportunities, to indicate our crises and our choices, to lead, mold, educate, and sometimes even anger public opinion. This means greater coverage and analysis of international news, for it is no longer far away and foreign, but close at hand and local. It means greater attention to improved understanding of the news, as well as improved transmission. And it means, finally, that government at all levels must meet its obligation to provide you with the fullest possible information outside the narrowest limits of national security. And so it is to the printing press, to the recorder of man's deeds, the keeper of his conscience, the courier of his news, that we look for strength and assistance, confident that with your help, man will be what he was born to be, free and independent.